Hey, Carlos. Thanks very much for joining. You're the director of Endless Retail Media Solutions, which is the retail media network of Sonai, one of Europe's biggest retailing groups. Would be great to just know a little bit about the role and what you do within it.
Very well, Steve. Thanks for the invitation. So, Endless was born within one of the Sonai companies, MC, which is our grocery retailer, which is the most significant business within the group. And so I lead the project. I joined a couple of years ago, January 2023. Um, Basically, the whole concept was to build a retail media business on top of the large array of loyalty data that we have. We run the largest loyalty program in the country, and also all the channels that we have in relation to consumers, and that's only within MC, right? And so Sonai is a much broader group. There are some other opportunities to build retail media within that, but for the short term, we're building a business on top of our grocery and FMCG business.
Great. I mean, that sounds very exciting. What were you doing beforehand? What was the path that took you to running Endless?
Yeah, well, I spent almost 18 years working at Google, different geographies in the advertising business, mainly sales. And so I guess that background was interesting for Sonai as the core business is, of course, retail, heavy on operations and everything. And so they felt my background could be interesting for actually taking this off the ground. Before that, I had my own company as well in the early 2000s, which went off with a bubble. And eventually I started at Google in 2004 and did a lot of different things there, but always related with advertising, business development, advertising technology.
That's interesting. So really you're more of a media guy than a retailing guy, I guess. Is that fair?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Particularly
Okay.
digital media. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Cool. And how are you getting on with Endless? What are some of the successes that are taking place?
Well, building such a business within a relatively traditional company in which the core is, of course, retail and the operations and making sure that we keep opening stores and the operation is profitable, working with, of course, thinner margins that we benefit from in a retail media business. It comes with some challenges. What I think has been critical is the senior leadership sponsorship that we have been having. That's been critical for the success, but also being pragmatic. And I think what has been helping us and taking this off the ground and in a very short period of time being able to have something that is material for the advertisers is to keep it simple, right? And so we started with a loyalty data, ingested that on a CDP, installed an ad server, connected both, within 6 months we had an on-site value proposition that could give advertisers the ability to leverage all our transactional data, which in a retail media based on grocery operation is critical because you want that richness of the data, that recurrency, but also giving the ability to advertisers to have visibility about sales both online but also in stores. And we were able to do that in 6 months. And so I think that was a big success. Of course, there's a lot to be done still. We have a wide array of stores. We have other channels. We are working on our offsite proposition, but being able to take on-site off the ground in such a small time frame, I think it was the largest feat, so to speak.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's really interesting. And what are some of the key challenges you've touched on perhaps some there, but what are the main challenges been that you've had to face into?
Yeah, we have to do development in different assets within the company. And so we rely on the availability or pipeline of those development teams, which some of them may be separate. I talked about data. We developed the on-site, which is mainly related with our e-commerce website, but we also brought to the fold our loyalty app. And so these are three separate teams. And so we depend on their pipelines and their backlogs to be able to develop in a consistent way. I think that was a big challenge, and even the company is adapting to this reality, because typically the development is done more or less in silos for obvious reasons and quite naturally. But this really demands an articulation and a program management of even that is probably one of the biggest challenges internally. Together with that, I think more of an external perspective, commercially, we want to build a business that is incremental to the company versus the revenue that already gets in through the commercial relationships we have the suppliers. So in simple terms, we want to transform suppliers into clients for the retail media. And so that hasn't been as straightforward as we would expect, right? So different stakeholders within our clients or suppliers, if you want to call them like that. Most of the times, the marketing departments and the commercial departments don't talk to each other. And so our objective is, of course, to capture revenues on the marketing side. I think the project is relatively new. I think we need some time to run more pilots, more proof of concepts, and I think there's been a little bit more noise than we would expect. And I think that's the main challenge that we are navigating. So in a nutshell, transform suppliers into clients of a media value proposition is not as straightforward as you would expect, given how powerful the product is.
I think some of those challenges are quite universal, Carlos. So you'll probably find that you're by no means alone there. Now, you're giving the keynote at the conference. No doubt you'll be introducing us to Sonai and Endless, but then hopefully talking a little bit about how to optimize on-site. Without giving too much away, can you tell us some of the key themes that you're going to touch on?
Well, I think it will be important for the audience to learn about Sonai in a broader scope. Again, we're starting this within the grocery business, but we have an electronics company within Sonai. Down the line, we may expand to that. We have a shopping mall business as well. A lot of opportunity out of home there. But within on-site, what we've been learning is that you should start simple, but don't discard the value that you have in your data to really be able off the bat to optimize the way that you show ads, right? And if in the beginning the advertisers are still getting acquainted with retail media, and probably just the fact that you are leveraging some transactional data for the purpose of segmentations, and you're serving sponsored products in such a relevant way when people search or in the categories is enough. I think we're realizing very quickly that if we have underlying dictating, so to speak, how relevantly ads are served, it makes a lot of difference. And so we are focusing on that quite a bit right now. And along with that, also don't discard any other assets beyond the e-commerce website that you may have, right? For us, it was absolutely fundamental to bring into the fold the loyalty card app. Not only does it allow us to build a value proposition that is a little bit upper in the funnel, so to speak, not so much related with trade marketing, but also leveraging a reach in very different stages in the buying process. And so that's something that I think the retailers should pay attention to, because when we think in on-site, we typically think about e-commerce and sponsored products and everything, but there may be other assets that could be very easily leveraged and be able to and allow to build a more comprehensive value proposition off the bat without even thinking going into off-site and other things.
Brilliant, Carlos. Thanks so much. I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm sure everybody else will be too. So thanks so much, and look forward to seeing you in London on the 14th.
Thanks a lot, Steve. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Yeah. Bye.